Okay, so the purpose of this video, like I said before with the spillage one, is to walk you through the soundness, left body and soundness test that you're going to have to undertake for both phase 4 and phase 6. Okay, this is for educational purposes only. It's just to give you a bit of guidance in what you're to expect, what's expected of the day you come in to do your test. And you will be given mock and everything like that as well. But some students have difficulty with the walkthrough, need a bit more direction. That's what the purpose of this video is for. All right. So to start with, you're going to walk in on the day of the test. And again, we can't prompt you, we're going to ask you to proceed with your test, okay? Whether it be me or another examiner. And the first thing you're going to say is, I'm going to test my equipment, alright? That's all you're going to say. You don't have to do anything, just tell us, okay? Now, for the purpose of just demonstrative purposes, right, I'm going to show you that this is an aspirator, okay? This is what's required for all RGIs in order to test gas lines and net buys, alright? So, a lot of them don't know is that there's a blank on all of these, and they never understood why the blank is there. It's actually there to test your equipment, okay? So rather than putting this onto the test point over the meter, you're putting it onto the blank, all right? And before you proceed, then this is a water gauge, by the way. This is what you will be using on the day of your soundness test. You're gonna pump that up, give it up to 100, all right? So it's nice and clear for you. Not to go a wee bit too high there, no problem. There's a little brass screw here, bring it back down again, all right? So, for the purpose of this, we bring it back to about 100 millibar, all right? Now again, when you're using a water gauge, always make sure that your test point that you have yourself connected to is on the inches side, because as you press down, your measurement is going to go up on the millibar side, which is the red side, which is the one you want to be measuring on, all right? So always make sure you connect it onto the right-hand side. So you give that a minute or two, make sure it's not dropping, you're happy out, and you're going to proceed with your soundness test, alright? So take that back off again. So you won't be expected to do that in a day. I'm just showing you what that blank on those aspirators before. An awful lot of lads don't understand what's there. Right, so next thing you're going to do is you're going to do your left bite test. You're going to start by doing your left bite test. So you're going to isolate the meter, and then you're going to take the screwdriver, right? And you're going to take the blank out of the test point. Okay? Now, because we're outdoors, we're going to let it bleed outdoors. Now, if the meter is under the stairs, go into the kitchen and let the gas out through a hob or something else that might be suitable, okay? You're going to let it go, you're going to let all the gas out, let the system drop to atmospheric pressures, okay? Now, you don't just throw this blank over your shoulder or into your bag where you never find it again in your pocket. There's actually purpose-made screw points in these brackets. Some poor fella in a factory somewhere spends his entire life making them. Make sure his life isn't wasted. Put the blank into the screw point, alright? So he has meaning for his life. Right, so that done, you're going to proceed with your left bite test. So you're going to take your aspirator, take your hose, and you're going to put it onto the test point here, okay? Always come in at an angle, pinch the hose, come in at an angle, and she'll push over there like that, alright? Okay? And then you're going to carry on with your left bite test. Now again, I'm not going to tell you what the pressure is. You'll need to know that on the day, and you also need to know your test pressures, okay, for your left bite. Now, what you'll be asked, or what you may be asked then, is in the event of what would indicate a left bite, okay? And you will say a rise in pressure, okay? And we'll say, well, what would you constitute a rise in pressure? 2.5 millibars is usually a nice little number to have. There's no actual clear definition as to what it should be, but 2.5 is a nice number, okay? If you think about it when you're studying, you kind of get why 2.5 millibars is a good number to have for that bite. If you don't, by the end of it, I'll ask you and I'll let you know what it is. But you do the test. If it rises by 2.5 millibar, you zero it again and you test it a second time, all right, to ensure that there is actually a let by. Now, if it rises by 2.5 millibar again, now again, there's no written rule for a let by. It just states in the IS 813 in the event of a let by, you have to notify the gas supplier and follow their instructions essentially, which is they'll come out within the hour and change the valve. However, in my own experience over the years, the procedure that I adopted to ensure, I used to probably come across with 4 let-bys per year because I used to do an awful lot of services for management companies. So my procedure kind of evolved into something, and it was more to cover myself than anything, and it'd be to cover yourselves as well if you adopt it. In the event that you have a let-by the first time, 2.5 millibar will rise, You test it again a second time. If it rises 2.5 millibar over the test time, which I'm not going to tell you, if it goes up by 2.5 again, well then you leave it on for another 10 minutes. Okay, go off, have a cup of tea, come back. If it's gone to 20 millibar, which is working pressure, then you have a let by. If it stops at 14, it's probably down atmospheric reasons. The sun might be shining on the pipe work. A solder fitting might be still warm. Could be anything. Okay, because if you even put your hand over this, it can actually start to rise. So, in the event that you do have a let by, what I always did then, again, you don't need to know this. All you have to tell us. Sorry, I'll go back on myself here. All you have to tell us is that you'll notify G&I and that they'll come out and change the valve. All right, that's all you have to tell us. Okay. However, what I used to do is, for your own sakes, is in the event that I found a let by, I'd notify G&I, and I would take the job number and the name of the person I'm talking to, put it down on the cert. So I fill in a cert tree, notification of hazard, let by. There's been a let by in the valve, and I'd sign it, and I'd get the homeowner to sign it, and then I'd get the job number and the name. And the reason being is because of the 4, I think probably about 3 over the 15, 20 odd years I was going around, were never done. So when I went back to service the boiler the next year, the let by was still there, just slipped through the cracks. These things happen, like nobody's perfect. All right. Now normally they're there within an hour, and they change it out for you in an hour. You probably won't even be finished with your test, but they will explain to you on the phone, listen, proceed with your test, and in that event you'll remove the meter and test this pipe work only to make sure that there's no leaks. All right. So anyway, I'm waffling here a bit, but so you're going to carry out your let by. If it fails the first time, you test it the second time. If it fails it the second time, you notify G&I, you fill in a cert 3 notification hazard statement of the let by, get the customer to sign it, and proceed with your soundness test. All right. So take the meter out in the event that there's a let by, and carry on with your soundness test to make sure that this side of the meter is perfectly fine. All right. So in the test, then you'll say, okay, that's what you do during a let by. That's fine. Proceed with your soundness test, and again, then you're going to take your aspirator here, and you're going to bring it up to whatever. You'll be told whether it be LPG or natural gas. And again, you're going to need to know these pressures and the test times, okay, for natural gas and LPG existing. So you bring it up to whatever it is, natural gas or LPG, and you'll then be asked questions such as, what is a permissible drop on a natural gas system with appliances connected, existing? And then you'll have to know what the permissible drop is, okay? And then we might say, well, in the event that there's that it's within the permissible drop, or so say we say as a 3 millibar drop on the system, you have to investigate then. So you're going to have to go in. You're going to have to isolate all the appliances and then test the gas line on its own to ensure there's no drop in the gas line. Now, I have no problem telling you this because this is quite important. On all pipe work, natural gas, LPG, new and old, you're allowed no drop on any test, okay? On the pipe work only. So you're going to test the pipe work to make sure there's no leak, okay? Now, you've managed to test it, it's fine, the gas line's fine. How are you going to figure out what is dropping by 3 millibar? So you're going to turn on each appliance one at a time. Turn on the oven first, check your U gauge or your water gauge. It's not going anywhere. Turn on a hob. That's usually where the culprit is, usually hops, right? So it starts to drop, so you know straight away. So you're going to have to decide then whether or not it gets isolated or not. Again, is it within the permissible drop? You have to decide that yourself. And then you have to proceed in the same way you would have with a fire. The 3 things you must do in the event that an appliance has to be isolated, all right? Again, I'm not going to tell you what that is. And then when you're happy you've isolated that, you're going to carry out a quick analysis, make sure everything is hunky-dory visually, and you're going to reinstitute the gas to the services and crack on, okay? Not write your certs in, whatever certs are relevant. Again, I'm not going to tell you what certs you need to use, which ones are relevant, okay? And then at the end of it all, you may be asked more questions about what it was in LPG or what was in NG, or you're going to be, or at the end of it, you're going to be given your test paper, and at the back of it, you're going to be asked to fill in all those pressures and test times anyway, all right? So you need to know everything coming in here. And the very last thing, if you don't do this, you will be failed, okay? It's very important. You're going to put it back the way you found it, all right? So, first things first, take your equipment off. Take your blank out of where you left it. Put it back in to the test point. Now again, don't swing out of this, lads, because what happens is you swing out of that and it breaks off the side of the test point, you're in a bit of trouble. Alright, so just give her a tiny little bit of it and make sure you use leak detector. Spray it on it. Turn this on first, that will be helpful. Alright, and then make sure you spray that and ensure there's no leaks on that before you leave. Alright, and then you'll be asked to fill that book in afterwards. And that is how you will do your soundness test today that you're here. Okay.